Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 124 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. My name is Bill Pivets. So unfortunately, I don't have any music introduction for this week's episode. I recently just got a new MacBook and still trying to play around with GarageBand a little bit. Still trying to figure out how to import audio. So we're just going to go out of the gate. This week's episode of NXT was the go-home show to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. Wasn't the strongest show, to be honest. We had a main event of Roderick Strong, no pun intended, facing Bobby Roode, facing Drew McIntyre. Ruby Riot also took on Billie Kay, but the show started with the contract signing for the NXT Women's title match. William Regal was in the ring. He introduced both competitors, starting with Ember Moon and then Asuka. I think it's still funny that they have these contract signings just days before the match is supposed to take place. In kayfabe, if something like, let's say, Ember Moon didn't want to sign the contract or vice versa, what are they going to do with the match? So it'd be like, I just don't get why they have them like days before. They should do it first, and then you have the build. I think I've mentioned this on a previous episode. I think it's just funny that the way they book that. In the ring, though, Ember called Asuka a dominant champion, not just in NXT, but in all of WWE. She mentioned Goldberg's streak, and the crowd started chanting Asuka in the same tune. She then mentioned that Asuka took a shortcut to defeat her the last time, and that she's better than ever before and will defeat Asuka before she signed the contract. Asuka and William Regal then signed their part, and Asuka yelled in some Japanese as they came face-to-face with Asuka raising the title. Typical NXT contract signing, they didn't brawl like we've seen in the past, but it's smart not to give anything away leading up to this match. Ember seems fired up and focused, but Asuka doesn't really seem too phased or isn't taking her too seriously. Good contrast there, and I am looking forward to this match. William Regal was then shown in his office talking to someone off camera about a story when Lars Sullivan interrupted. Lars promised to be good if he got one more tag team match. He said he won't beat up his partner in the middle of the ring if they lose. Regal eventually obliged and gave him another match. That led to the first match, Street Profits versus Lars Sullivan and Chris Silvio. Silvio looked like a knockoff of Johnny Mundo. Same jacket, long black hair, kind of doing the same moves during the entrance too. Lars looked like he was about to start, but Silvio kind of pushed him to the side and received a punch from Angelo Dawkins right away. Ford ran into the crowd screaming, just being all hype about it. Ford went after Sullivan on the apron, and then he just kind of backed away. Street Profits won after they hit the corner splash, pop-up spinebuster, frog splash combo to get the win. Sullivan was a little angry on the apron. Street Profits backed away slowly and then ran up the ramp to get away from Lars. He then carried his partner over his shoulder into the back. They cut away to promote something. They eventually caught up with him, still carrying him through the backstage area and outside, and then tossed him in a trash can. Funny way to go about it. Mauro Ranallo tried covering, saying that he technically didn't attack him in the ring, so he didn't break his promise. Pretty clever. As for the match, it was whatever, another squash match for Street Profits. Nothing really much to tell about them right now, but the crowd seems into them, and they're getting a push, so it's another tag team in NXT. We need it. Second match, Billie Kay and Ruby Riot. Ruby caught Kay in a couple pin attempts early. Kay took control after a discus clothesline and a straight leg stunner. Ruby was making her comeback. She went after Peyton. Kay almost took advantage of that, but Ruby landed a standing bicycle kick to get the win. Peyton grabbed the mic after the match. She said that Ruby will never be iconic, and that was the end of that. Underwhelming match. They really didn't get anything going, and I think Billie Kay and Peyton Royce are kind of just going through the motions at this point. They need to be called up. They're not doing anything. They're not challenging for the NXT title, or NXT Women's title. They're not winning any matches that they're in, and I'm not sure what that was from Peyton. Maybe we'll get a match next week between Peyton Royce and Ruby Riot. Who knows, but they're kind of just spinning their wheels, biding their time. We then got a hype video for the tag team match. And after all that, it was time for the main event, Roderick Strong and Drew McIntyre. If Roderick Strong wins, he gets a shot at Bobby Roode down the line. They were playing up the size difference early. Drew landed a deadlifting suplex. Roddy hit a drop kick off the ropes, and then another one sending Drew to the outside. McIntyre then tossed Roddy into the steel post. Roddy came back with a back suplex onto the apron, and then he was focusing on the back with some backbreakers and like abdominal stretches and such. Drew made his comeback with some deep strikes. He had Roddy against the ropes, and he hit a reverse Alabama slam. Roddy countered a kick with a running knee to the face, and then he cradle backbreaker. They were fighting in the corner. Roddy was on the top. McIntyre was in the tree of woe when Bobby Roode ran down and attacked Roderick Strong. He then stomped on Drew in the corner. He then threw Roderick Strong into the steps, and he finished off Drew with the glorious DDT. overall, it was a great match until the end with Bobby Roode causing the DQ finish. Roddy was fighting from underneath, being the underdog, and McIntyre just being athletic for his size, cutting him off any chance possible. However, with Bobby Roode attacking Roderick Strong first, that does mean Roderick Strong gets the win, unless they're just going to throw the match out and make it a no contest. Roderick Strong technically wins, and he'll get his shot at Bobby Roode down the line if they want to play up that storyline, kind of Bobby Roode screwing himself over in that situation. But who knows? I could see them going with that. I could see them also throwing the match out and Roderick Strong getting more frustrated. But that was it. That was the show. It was a pretty weak go-home show, like I mentioned. Contract signing was good, and the main event with Bobby Roode attacking him, attacking his challengers, was pretty great. We didn't get anything besides a graphic for the Gargano-Almas match and the Aleister Black-Hideo Itami match, and we got a small video package for the tag title match. The other two matches on the show were pretty weak, nothing really to brag home about. But yeah, we got TakeOver Brooklyn 3 this Saturday, so I'm going to give you my predictions for that, starting from the bottom. Didn't mean to offend Drake there, but I'm going to go with Aleister Black defeating Hideo Itami, Johnny Gargano defeating Andrade Cien Almas. That one I could see going either way with a renewed push for Almas and Gargano just getting back in the swing, so I wouldn't be surprised if Almas wins. But being in Brooklyn, fan favorite crowd, I want to see Gargano win. I think Authors of Pain defeat Sanity to retain. I think Asuka defeats Ember Moon to retain. I don't think Ember's there yet. She's the only contender, but I still don't think the build is there, and she's not ready. So I think Asuka continues her streak. And I also think Bobby Roode retains over Drew McIntyre. I do expect Roderick Strong to get involved somehow, kind of costing Drew McIntyre the match. But Bobby Roode will walk out of Brooklyn NXT champion. All right, so that was this week's episode of NXT. Follow me on Twitter at bpiv_sports. Like, comment, subscribe to the show on YouTube. I'm going to try to watch TakeOver either late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. I am going on vacation, so I'll try to get some recording in before that. If not, I'll lump it up with the next week's episode of NXT. Probably it's not going to be anything major because they always tape that week before the TakeOver special. So there's not going to be anything important on that show. But looking forward to TakeOver. Kind of looking forward to SummerSlam as well. Some of those matches got me intrigued, especially that 4-way Universal title match and the Kevin Owens AJ Styles match. But that was it. All right, follow me on Twitter. See you next week. Peace.